Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves...
Is the WNBA actually trying to self-destruct? Or are we witnessing one of the most blatant cases of corporate jealousy in professional sports history? Just when it felt like the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark couldn't escalate any further, another shockwave has hit the league office. And this time, it's not coming from the players. It's coming straight from the top. This is a league that spent decades begging for viewership, chasing sponsors, and fighting for mainstream relevance. Now that they finally have a unicorn who delivers all three on a silver platter, the response isn't gratitude, it's resentment. Reports suggest a new commercial featuring the Indiana Fever rookie has sent WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert and the league's old guard into a full-blown tailspin.
But why?
How does a simple ad trigger chaos behind closed doors? Enter Stephen A. Smith, confirming what many already suspected. Since the draft, the league has been losing control, and they're scared. They're watching one player grow bigger than the entire organization, and instead of riding the momentum, they're trying to block it. This goes far beyond a TV spot. It's a power struggle between a rising supernova and a stagnant establishment that doesn't know how to handle her. We're talking about millions of dollars slipping away, petty resentment born in the boardroom spilling onto the court, and the uncomfortable possibility that the commissioner may be rooting against the league's most valuable asset. Stephen A. Smith didn't just hint at it. He practically exposed the rot at the core of the WNBA's leadership. Buckle up, because we're diving straight into the commercial that broke the camel's back, and the anger now threatening to tear the league apart. To understand why the commissioner is reportedly seething, you have to look at the visuals and the timing of this media drop. When Caitlin Clark appears in a commercial, whether it's Wilson, Gatorade, or State Farm, she isn't framed as just another WNBA player or a replaceable piece of the system. She's presented as a cultural icon, a singular force of nature. In this latest spot, the production value is sky high. It doesn't position her as part of the picture, it makes her the entire picture. She looks powerful, independent, and, most importantly, bigger than the league she plays in. For the average viewer, this is electric. It's hype. It's exciting. It makes you want to watch basketball. But for WNBA executives, especially Cathy Engelbert, this is a nightmare.
And here's why.
The league didn't create that image. They didn't authorize it, and they can't control it. When the commissioner sees Clark in these high-gloss ads, she sees a player who doesn't need the WNBA to survive. Clark has her own economy. She has her own gravity. The rage Stephen A. Smith is pointing to comes from a total loss of leverage. Traditionally, leagues control players because players need the league for money and exposure. Clark has blown past that dynamic entirely. Insiders say it was the timing that really set the front office off. All season, the league has pushed a collective message, reminding everyone it's not about one player, but the history, the other 143 players, the system itself. Then suddenly, this commercial drops and erases that narrative in 30 seconds flat. It reminds everyone there's only one person driving the bus, and it isn't the commissioner. It's the rookie with the ponytail. The contrast between the league's dull, low-budget marketing and Clark's elite brand deals is embarrassing for leadership, and that embarrassment is quickly turning into anger. Stephen A. Smith has been the loudest defender of Clark, but his recent comments have taken a darker, more serious turn. He's no longer just breaking down basketball, he's breaking down the psychology of the executives running the league. Smith recently went on a tear, confirming that the mood inside WNBA headquarters isn't celebration. It's resentment. He pointed out the absurdity of the situation. You have a commissioner who's supposed to be a business expert, yet she appears emotionally compromised because one player is getting too much shine. According to Smith, that rage is really a cover for incompetence. Every time Clark lands a massive deal or headlines another viral commercial, it exposes what the WNBA failed to do for 27 years. It's a mirror reflecting their inability to grow the game. If you're Cathy Engelbert and you see Gatorade marketing your sport better than you ever did, it stings. It hits the ego hard. Smith didn't hold back, suggesting the leadership is taking this personally because they feel exposed. He also connected that resentment at the top to the toxicity we see across the league. If the commissioner is rolling her eyes at Clark's success, why wouldn't opposing players feel emboldened to take cheap shots? Stephen A. Smith drew a straight line from the boardroom mentality to the locker room culture. It's a trickle-down effect of jealousy. Smith essentially accused the league of wanting Clark to fail, or at least wanting her to be humbled, so they can regain control of the ship. But as he pointed out, that ship has already sailed. The commercial made one thing clear: the world is watching Caitlyn, not Kathy. To fully understand this rage, you have to place it in the broader history of the WNBA. For years, the league has been run by a specific group with a specific mindset. They see the WNBA as a cause, a movement, a collective struggle for recognition. Then Caitlyn Clark arrives, representing pure capitalism and individual stardom. She doesn't fit the mold the old guard created. She disrupts the hierarchy. That's exactly what this commercial puts on display. It presents Clark as a singular force, separate from the pack. The league has spent decades trying to convince the public that the product is the league itself. They sell the shield. Clark's brand partners sell her. That fundamental clash is where the friction comes from. The old guard feels disrespected. They feel like years of groundwork are being ignored because a girl from Iowa can pull up from the logo. Stephen A. Smith also pointed out that this is the same energy behind the Olympic snub. Leaving Clark off the Team USA roster was a move to protect the hierarchy, to remind her she has to wait her turn. But the commercial world doesn't care about waiting your turn. Brands pay for relevance right now. And that disconnect between a slow-moving, seniority-based league office and a fast-moving, merit-based advertising world is creating massive internal conflict. The commissioner is caught in the middle, and instead of adapting, she's getting angry. And let's talk about the money, because at the end of the day, professional sports is a business, or at least it's supposed to be. Stephen A. Smith has repeatedly accused the WNBA of committing business malpractice, and the outrage over Clark's commercial is the perfect example. In a normal league like the NBA or the NFL, when a player lands a massive national ad, the commissioner is celebrating.
Why?
Because it raises the value of the entire product. It pulls in casual fans. It sells jerseys. So why is WNBA leadership angry? Because they aren't getting the credit or the control. Clark's off-court income is now dwarfing her on-court salary, and that makes the league look cheap and unprofessional. When casual fans see Clark in a $1 million ad campaign and then discover the WNBA pays her a rookie salary of around $76,000, it creates a public relations nightmare. It exposes the wage gap. It highlights the broken revenue model. And the commissioner knows it. Every high-profile commercial Clark films becomes another reminder that the league doesn't properly compensate its biggest stars. It invites uncomfortable questions. People start asking, if this player is generating this much money, why is the league still broke? Instead of fixing the financial structure, leadership gets defensive. As Smith argues, they'd rather Clark be less famous than be forced to answer those hard questions. It's a scarcity mindset, fighting over crumbs while Clark is baking an entirely new cake. And that brings us to the woman in charge, Kathy Engelbert. She was hired as a CEO type, brought in to crunch numbers and grow the business. But she's been completely outmaneuvered by the Caitlyn Clark phenomenon. Her response to this new commercial era of the WNBA hasn't been bold or adaptive. It's been frozen and awkward. Remember, this is the same commissioner who struggled to answer a simple question about the racial toxicity directed at Clark during a TV interview. She tried to hide behind a corporate non-answer, and it backfired badly. That moment mattered because it showed how unprepared she was for the spotlight Clark has brought to the league. Stephen A. Smith has hinted that Engelbert's anger is rooted in something deeper: fear. She knows she's on the hot seat. WNBA team owners are business people. They see the numbers. They see the charter flights Clark effectively forced the league to adopt. They see the ticket sales. If the commissioner starts looking like an obstacle to growth, if she's perceived as being petty about commercials instead of capitalizing on them, her time won't last long. That rage likely isn't confidence. It's anxiety. fear of being exposed as the wrong leader for a new era. Clark represents a speed of growth Engelbert can't keep up with, and the commercial is a symbol of that pace. It's slick, fast, and globally appealing. Meanwhile, the WNBA's official marketing often feels clunky and outdated. It's an aesthetic clash, and the commissioner is losing it. Instead of upgrading the league's marketing to match Clark's momentum, reports suggest the reaction has been bitterness over being outshined by one player. And we can't ignore the word jealousy. Stephen A. Smith has used it. Charles Barkley has used it.
And it fits.
We usually talk about players being jealous, but what Smith is exposing is jealousy reaching all the way into the executive suite. Why would a commissioner be jealous? Because Clark holds more power than she does. When Clark speaks, the world listens. When Engelbert speaks, people tune out. That's a hard pill to swallow for an executive used to being in charge. And this commercial cements Clark's status as the unquestioned face of women's basketball, no matter what the WNBA's standings say. The league office spent years trying to manufacture stars, trying to tell fans who to root for. Then Clark showed up and it happened organically. That's where the rage comes from. It's the rage of a micromanager who has lost control. They can't tell Clark what to wear, what to say, or who to sign with, because she doesn't need their money. That level of independence is viewed as a threat. You can see it in how the league handles social media. Have you noticed how long it often takes WNBA official accounts to post Clark's highlights compared to others? Fans have documented this shadow-banning weirdness all season. It's petty, it's childish, and it comes from the top. The commercial just throws gasoline on the fire because it's something they can't suppress. It's everywhere, on every TV in America. One of the most revealing parts of this saga is what the league doesn't do. When the commercial dropped, did the WNBA repost it? Did they congratulate their biggest star for expanding the game? Did they release a statement celebrating the partnership?
No.
Silence. Complete radio silence. In the NBA, when Anthony Edwards or Jason Tatum drops a new ad or signature shoe, the league amplifies it immediately. They understand it lifts the entire ecosystem. The WNBA's silence around Clark's commercial success is deafening, and it confirms everything Stephen A. Smith has been saying. You only ignore your biggest stars' wins if you're bitter about them. That silence is actively damaging the league's relationship with its fan base. The millions of new fans Clark brought in aren't blind. They see the double standard. They feel the hostility. And they're starting to view WNBA leadership as the villain in this story. By refusing to embrace the commercial, the commissioner is drawing a clear line in the sand. It's us versus her. And as Stephen A. Smith has made clear, that's a battle the league cannot win. Smith warned that this is a war the WNBA will lose. You can't fight the zeitgeist. And this is where things turn darker, because the boardroom rage connects directly to the on-court violence. If the commissioner and league office are openly resentful of Clark's commercial success, it sends a subconscious message throughout the league. It's okay to go after her. If Engelbert publicly treated Clark like the jewel she is, it would set a tone of protection and respect. Instead, the coldness, the resentment toward her marketing momentum, strips that protection away. We've seen the hard fouls, the blindside hits, the eye pokes, and after every incident, the league's response has been slow and weak. Stephen A. Smith argues this is no coincidence. Leadership doesn't want to protect the player who makes them feel exposed. They allow jungle rules to apply to Clark because, deep down, they want her to struggle. They want her knocked down so they can say, "See, she's not that special." But every time she gets back up and headlines another major commercial, it proves them wrong all over again. What you're seeing is a toxic cycle of resentment and physical play that's putting the league's future at risk. There's another layer to this rage, and it's called leverage. A new 3-on-3 league, unrivaled, founded by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, is launching with massive salaries and equity. Caitlin Clark is the biggest target in all of women's basketball right now. And the commissioner knows it. Clark has options. If the WNBA keeps treating her with hostility, she doesn't have to stay forever. She could play in Europe. She could join Unrivaled. She could even create her own tour and sell out arenas on her own terms. This commercial is a reminder of that reality. It tells the commissioner that Caitlin Clark isn't just a WNBA player, she's a free agent in the global business of basketball. The rage comes from a brutal realization. The WNBA needs Clark, but Clark doesn't strictly need the WNBA to be rich or famous. That kind of power imbalance is terrifying for a traditional sports league. Normally, the league holds the keys. In this case, Clark holds the keys, the car, and the deed to the garage. That commercial is a flex. It's a statement that says, I am the economy. And for an office full of executives used to controlling every narrative and calling every shot, that's infuriating. Stephen A. Smith isn't alone in calling this out. He's part of a new wave of media voices that are finally holding the WNBA accountable. For years, the league was handled with kid gloves. Commissioners weren't criticized. The product wasn't questioned. Everything was framed as support for the cause. But now real money is involved, and the gloves are off. Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Pat McAfee are treating the WNBA like a major league. And that means they're calling out mistakes, bad leadership, and uncomfortable truths instead of pretending everything is fine.